Hey, hello everyone. Thanks for being on the show. This is our first time trying to do a live DXF scale event. So we're just calculating all those lags and everything over there, and hope everybody can listen to it. And it's very good with the session, right? So today we got Ruslan on the show. So Ruslan is from Ukraine. He works as a Salesforce tech lead at K Health. And we had an interesting chat with Ruslan on the DXF Scale community channel on how Ruslan has adopted the DXF Scale framework in enhancing the developer workflows. So we wanted everyone to listen to their story, and we wanted to share that learnings with all of you across the globe. So once again, thank you everyone for spending the next 1 hour with us, and we look forward to sharing the story.
Hey guys. Aslam, just confirm, do you see the first screen, right?
Yeah,
first slide.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. Hey everybody, thank you for joining. Very excited to talk to you today from Kyiv, Ukraine. My name is Ruslan. And yes, as Aslam said, I'm going to share the story of my team adopting the access scale for making all developer experiences as best as possible in Salesforce, and not only. And I think that's the journey that you will go with me together through this hour. So again, my name is Ruslan. I'm in Kyiv, Ukraine, Sunny City. I've been in Salesforce for about moreover than 8 years. Always been passionate about making process and developing in Salesforce easier, faster, and some kind of sophisticated for engineers and for myself, because I've always been in development. Today I will share a bit of K, just to give you some context. What are we doing? Who we are? And then the story, right? The story of 3 acts. What was here when I joined, when my team started to build up. What we've got through what is called new era, and yes, some very interesting and funny stuff at the end about integrated Salesforce environments or continuously integrated Salesforce environments. All right. So first of all, what is K? Key Health is a very unique company. We are honestly doing amazing things for people in terms of treating their health currently in the US market. In two sense, we are pairing together the AI technology that we've got and we've built through last years with doctors, real people that getting amazing help for these AI technologies, and they can treat patients based on just millions of records starting from 19s that being digitalized, and yeah, and it looks amazing how you can see that real results of like doctors and superpowers having treating patients in an absolute amazing way. So you can imagine it's a very it's a unique, it's a very competitive. And it's hard to maintain everything working as it should be in the best notch level, because that's real patients, that's real life, right? So in case Salesforce plays a role of the kind of like a heart of our EMR system. We store all electronic medical records in Salesforce. Our doctors work in Salesforce. Our CX agent work with operations and finance. Many departments, many users, they all work in Salesforce. It's a pretty relatively big work, not super huge, but just to give you some overall understanding what we are dealing with. We have mainly 4 environments. This is the integration environment where we basically integrate all.
1 second, the slides, you need to move it. Yeah.
Oh, I see that there's a delay. I apologize. So we have the dev environment, or better to call it integration with Salesforce naming, where all our changes, coming together from different sources, from different developers. We have staging, where we really test and run QA activities.
Excuse me once again. I think the slide is not getting changed.
Does not getting changed from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I see. Is it better now?
Yeah, now we are on your profile. Yeah, good.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay, this is me. This is my pick. Let me just make it like this. I think it should be better now. All right. This is the agenda, guys, which we had to see. And yeah, just I think pretty slide about key health, which I, by the way, forgot to mention that we have about 8 million users. All doctors are certified, of course. And yeah, we 24 hours, 24 hours, available. So
recording in progress.
It's as I said, it's super hard sometimes to really maintain everything, working on a top-notch level. Yeah. Coming back to environments, guys. So after staging, we execute some regression tests and hot fixes before the release in UAT work and production. Okay, so just giving that overlay for you so you can understand what we're dealing with. Together with that, I'll talk about that more, but we have many scratch works that we leverage for development, CI, and running regression tests, end-to-end tests, and infrastructure. So those are about 200 active environments, all orgs at a time. Also, the organization contained about 14 managed packages. Those are Health Cloud, Blackthorn, and Extend Doc Generation. We get about 50K cases and about 70K encounters per week. So it's like people come to us about 70,000 times per week to talk with our doctors. And it's about like 500 active users in Salesforce, mixing all together, like operations, doctors, finance, and of course, developers and engineering. You've got, I wanted to share that slide that I think it's super important to understand that with the updates and information that we'll share later, it won't be possible to have this. This is the organization overview. We have the org chart that we've been able to decompose based on permission set groups, permission sets, and automatically provision all the roles and their permissions to different teams and different type of users, right? So it's about 22 user types or roles, how you guys call that, in 5 divisions. And we do not manage permissions manually. We do not assign permission sets manually. Everything done using our SSO provider, Okta. I'm sure there are many alternatives, but this is what we use. And in Okta, we have teams, and the people added that for provisioning, all right, and having access to Salesforce and relevant permissions. And yeah, a bit of engineering overview. This is the current state, right? And I will go then into some details how we've got to this point. So we are having what is called on-demand version deployments to production. So each deployment to production have its specific version built, a complete organization built. So everybody can understand and clearly know what exact version is on what in production, UAT, staging, and so on. We've got scratch works for development and validations, automatically prepared and provisioned. It's about 200 active works at a time. We have 90 packages that we've built. Those are a combination of unlocked and source packages. And we have the ability to really test and validate the changes in Salesforce as well as in other services that we've built in K in integration together using Scratchworks, because as I will share later, we have this notion of integrated, automatically integrated and continuously integrated Scratchworks into the personal Kubernetes clusters that every developer can spin up using just a couple of clicks. And the organization is altogether prepared for you for automated end-to-end tests, for manual testing if you want, or whatever activities you do throughout your engineering process, all right? So it's kind of like a full stack, a package that you as an engineer, no matter like Node or Salesforce engineer get, if you use this all capabilities, all right? Yeah, and now let me share you some information how we've got, how was the experience like, because it was not easy. It was not just doing and done, you know. So I think it's very important to understand it's not super easy. It takes time. And let me share you what we've got when I joined, when my team started to join, and we've started dealing with it, right? So at the very beginning, we had the org, the pretty, like I would say, standard Salesforce org, right? With the happy soup, just complete, mixed all together, classes, object fields, everything. No modules, no differentiation, complete mix, right? So it's hard to maintain such work, especially if goals are super high, right? If you need to have a great maintenance, you have to be able to onboard people quickly. You also need provide an ability for engineers from other teams, not only Salesforce teams, to at least understand what do you have there, right? Maybe some status or something like that. So it should be easy to navigate through the project and really see what's there. So we had happy soup and we had to deal with it, right? At that point, we didn't have really some good way to automatically, validate the changes that we introduced against the stable version of our project. So I would call it was untrusted and flaky validations, because we didn't have an option to spin up some environment like the clean or fresh environment to use that for a specific change, right? At that point, we had the integration work, and I think many of you encounter the same situation. You have some CI org or several CI orgs which are sandboxes, and you prepare them and then you use them maybe in random way, or if that's only one, you just use one org for validation, and then once validated, you also do your deployment there, right? But if you think about it, it's crazy, right? Because if you deploy something there and maybe the different package that not been deployed dropped, you have inconsistency there, or maybe some changes been introduced to that org. It's all hard to really maintain and refresh and keep it really fresh. That's important. So there's no really validation in isolation when you use sandboxes, rough sandboxes as Salesforce provide to you. Really need some sophisticated way. That's what we also had previously. And for our day-to-day development, we were maintaining the Git branch for each our environment. That's important to know, of course, that at that point we started to work with Git. We started to use version control and everything else by all the best practices. But yeah, we've started with some idea that, okay, we need a branch for each environment, and then we will flow, the changes from, one branch to another. And we've ended up understanding that, oh my God, we have so many merge conflicts because we create the branch from master. It's very different from the branch that is connected to the developer environment. And when you merge, there are many conflicts. There are then problems with deployments. We started good, but then we had ended up understanding that no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for us, especially in the manner that we want to execute based on our requirements, right? So it doesn't really work well for us, but that's where we started. And of course, unsynchronized environments, right? So because it's very hard to maintain what I've said, like this many long or forever living environments. You have almost completely unsynchronized environments. You will end up with that's very hard to maintain. You will need to refresh the sandbox. That's a problem because you need to then restore all the integration. It takes time. How to explain it to stakeholders, where you have, just imagine, you have the organization that is trying to maintain the top engineering processes, and it's very hard to sometimes like talk to stakeholders and say, hey, we need a couple of days to run some post refresh activities like integration, configuration, and stuff like that. I mean, what the heck, right? It's not super convenient, and stuff like that. So QA are unhappy because QA environment is different from UAT and especially production. Sometimes changes stale in specific environment, then product don't want to go with them, and you maybe forget or cannot, revert them somehow and properly, so it stays there, like fields and classes live there, and they affect the environment, right? Throughout the time, you accumulated huge debt, and then you can get to the problem. So there's no trust for such project, and this is what we had, right? And that's what I'm saying. Inconsistency of environments and inconsistency of developer environments, that's the problem. Because also, imagine you have 10 engineers and you need to somehow, provide for them an environment that's fresh, that they can use to really implement the feature, and it will work on each environment, right? And that's, we were using developer environments, and I was getting a lot of questions like, hey, can you refresh my sandbox? Okay, can you create a new sandbox for that person, or some kind of these things? And of course, post-install, post-refresh like activities for sandboxes. I'm sure you all had some experience related to that. So it's really hard to maintain such, sandboxes, developer sandboxes for engineers if you don't have some sophisticated, automated way, because it's rare. It's going to be outdated pretty fast, and it won't be up to date, and you won't be able to control this, the metadata inside. So that's what we had. And well, I think it's last but not the least from this list of conquests and stuff we had. It's a deployment, right? We were using Delta deployments. Some people can argue that it works. I'm just sharing my experience that it didn't work for us. We tried. We used the third-party tool. By the way, a very good tool, but I don't know. We tried to adapt in different ways, and didn't really work. We've got, as I said, to the position that, okay, stage is this, UAT is completely different, and production is nothing related to that, right? And that's sometimes also ended up with huge P1 issues, because something is deployed, but maybe something was forgotten, things like this, and we were really debugging these issues. And deployment was just a pain. The day of deployment, I was like, oh my God, it was a stress. That was a stress for me and for the team to really prepare everything and go into production. Yeah, and what, we started to think like, hey, there should be something workable, right? And I've said to my colleagues that we need to research, we need to look for something, and basically we kind of asked for the investment from our stakeholders, from our managers, saying, yeah, we let's just collect together, what do we need, what do we want, right, at the end of the day, and then we can search for possible solutions, what is the cost for them. Long story short, we've got to the exit scale, because we had to have versions. The whole organization just cheering for, hey, can we get versions into Salesforce? Can we know what is the version in production, in staging, and stuff like that? This is what the industry, how this is how the industry works, right? This is the transparency that you have to provide for the organization when you manage the org, right? It's open source. All right, so you can really understand what's there. You can contribute. You can talk to community and find out pretty quickly what's wrong and stuff like that. So after this relatively quick research and reading about that, watching some videos, thanks to Aslam and Ramsey for sharing that. Yeah, we decided that, hey, let's do that. Let's try. And the first thing I've did is basically started to enroll the team. I think that's the most important, or even the most important thing when you implement this change. It's a huge change for the organization. It's not only the CI/CD improvements, right, that you can complete and it's done, right? It's not like that. You need to educate a team. You need to enroll them. You need to provide all the resources they need to understand how things work, how to start working with Scratchworks. I'm sure not many of you are proficient in Scratchworks, and we are not either, even though we've been working with it for almost a year, but it's a constant learning, right? So you need to share this knowledge with them, and I really want to share that these people to you. This is our amazing team. I really thankful to them for being involved and giving feedback to me when I was, involving, doing this change, and their support was crucial. So yeah, I was fortunate enough to have these people on my board. I just wanted to share with you. This is my recommendation if you do some kind of change like that, okay? So as part of that, we were trying to execute some proper communication to our managers and stakeholders, saying like, oh, for some time, maybe, delivery will be a bit slower because we are basically, raising the bar for the team to really understand how things work, how to work with Scratchworks and everything. So that's what we did. We basically started to talk to stakeholders. You need to wait a bit, just a bit, like 3-4 weeks. In Salesforce, by the way, you can say, oh, 3-4 weeks. I mean, that's almost nothing. But in our use case, each team deliver each. In K-Health, right? There are many teams, and those many teams, they deliver each week. They deliver a lot of changes. They deliver fixes, features. And then someone comment, you need to wait for 3 weeks, we are ducting. So in our use case, that was a bit, interesting process. The idea was that I honestly tried to be, close to the team to understand what are we lacking, what should be done to really to help them, because they are like, it's hard, to understand this whole clunky stuff with Scratchworks when you're just starting. We are trying to accumulate this knowledge library all together, running some knowledge sharing sessions each week, for some time even twice a week, like sharing what is the exascale, how modular development works, why do you need that, what are benefits, and things like this. When you just have these sessions and then you accumulate this library, so it's building up basically your onboarding library. So then you can use not only for getting back and learning some background or maybe understand better, but you also can share that library to onboard people that when they come, and it's that's what played, I think, crucial role for us. And together with that, as I said, we had forever living branches connected to each environment. That was a huge change in terms of version control. We completely changed the Git strategy to trunk-based development, right? And we started to adopt that. I don't want to go really deep into details, but saying that, in short, we've got only one main trunk, which was basically built based on production branch. So we kind of throwing that stage, UAT, and dev branches. They were there for some time to see if there anything else left that we need to move forward anyways. But the trunk was created from the production branch, and then all feature branches they created from main, and they go back to trunk to main. And releases also, the versions they spin up out of this main trunk. So you basically narrow everything all together into this, main trunk, and it's much easier to track, to understand what's happening. And of course, the merge conflicts, you don't get much of them because you have the only one version, stable version, that you merge to, and that's much easier to understand. By the way, I think we will share the presentation. I tried to provide the links here so you guys can come back and review if you need. Again, we created the main trunk from production version of the branch, and this is just a quick outline of the idea that we're trying to implement. It's basically implemented now. So we have the main branch, and developers get the work, they get the fresh work. I'll get to that a bit later, how we do that. So every developer can get the new work, they can create the feature branch, they can implement things and push changes to the version control remote environment, which is in our case it's GitLab, where there's automated validation and processes to see everything works, if everything works with the CI environment, which is also automatically pulled to the validation process. And then, some colleague approve and merge that back into the main, right? And there's where the automatically things happen, like the build process, right, starts. So changes that you just introduced with your merge built into the real packages and versions together and stored in the package registry. I don't want to explain everything here, but just at this point, I think you just need to understand there's only one branch called trunk, and this is where the magic happens. The builds run, and that's where we create real packages and their versions. All right. We also got pretty amazing, for me, honestly. A thing is like, as a leader, you always want to monitor and see what's happening around, right? What's happening with the process. So we've integrated the system into the Datadog. You can use, I think, even different stuff is the exascale, but this is our choice because we already have Datadog. So we are getting these monitors, and we can see logs out of our CI process. So we can see how many, merge requests being, created, what is the time to validate the merge request, how much time the build process takes, and, the success and fail ratio. That's, by the way, the screenshot from our last week. As you can see, PR validation is not good enough. So we will talk with the team. I'm kidding, but this is just an example, right? You can see what you can get out of this, and what we've basically got from the very beginning. But basically, once you have it, these logs then can be integrated with the Datadog or New Relic, and you can see it, you can use it. Really, that's awesome. I really like to. I open this dashboard almost every day. Another process, which is basically was asynchronous process. So I was like team enrollment, getting the version control ready, and then this part, the decomposition process of those processes that we were doing basically together and in parallel. It was not like one step, another step. This all was like in parallel. We're trying to move as fast as possible. So basically, the task was to decompose the whole organization into modules or the packages in our case, right? And that's I would say interesting and hard and challenging. And I don't know how to really share and maybe some good best practices how to do that. Unfortunately, it's not easy to do, because you really need to understand the domain. What do you have, right, in the org? So you really need to know your organization well, and then think about like the composition. Like, okay, this is might be service, this might be sales, and you move files around, remembering that you have dependencies between them. So the order of your packages also matters. So we spent some time with that. I think we've spent like about a week or more to create some first decomposition about like 15 packages or 16 packages, the whole org. Why we've got so many? Because we had a lot of relatively a lot libraries, like open source libraries that we use. So it's about 8 libraries that are just separate packages. Excuse me. And so yeah, they kind of like are the parent packages, and then everything which goes and depend on libraries and open source stuff goes underneath. But it takes time. You really, if you are preparing for that, you should be really ready to know the whole organization, the whole domain, being ready to have the environment where you can test this decomposition, you can deploy there. In our case, that was Scratchworks. So together with making the composition, we were playing around with our Scratchworks shape, right? With the configuration, how the organization will look like, right? All the features that should be enabled there, all the settings. This impacts on your, on your deployment. To be able to deploy everything from your production to Scratchworks, you really need to understand what do you have, what features do you have. At the point we started, we didn't have org shape. I think that was in beta, and we didn't use that. Now we use that. It's amazing. It's much easier, but still, the file that you've got is relatively big. And yeah, and once you building up this, the configurations file, you also try to deploy your decomposed packages. You will see issues, you will see dependency issues, and you will play with them. You will need to work through them, right? Spend time researching and things like this. And so this process takes time, but this is something that can be done in parallel. 1-2 people can work together. This is our experience. Definitely, we did this way. And a bit of like the environments, right? Because I'm talking, we've got Scratchworks, you can pull, you can fetch, you can get CI environment, stuff like that. So for those who knows like not a lot about DX@Scale, guys, there's the idea of Scratchwork pool, the environment pool. So you can, once you have your prepare the Scratchwork definition file, once you have the project that is deployable, like maybe one package or many packages, it's your situation. It doesn't really matter how many packages you have. If the project is deployable to the Scratchwork, you can configure the process specifically using DX@Scale to automatically prepare what is called Scratchwork pools. So in our case, we've started from 2 developer pools, which each pool has 10 orgs. And the process, the CLI that DX@Scale gives you is basically spins up the 10 orgs in our case, and start deploying the changes to these orgs in parallel. But important to mention that once you create this DX project and you mention all the packages there, you also define the dependencies on managed packages, right? That you have on production. In our case, it's a health cloud. It's a pretty complex and big package that take time to deploy, right? So it's not easy just to take the fresh Scratchwork with nothing and then install managed packages, install all the project files that you have. So in our particular use case, and when we started, it was like about 2 hours to prepare one work. So imagine you're waiting for 2 or 2.5 hours to just get the developer environment, just for some time, and then you need to throw that. So that's why we have this idea of dev pools that are prepared automatically for you in asynchronous process and restored. In our use case, GitLab just schedules do that. In some timing it execute the prepare process, which does clean up, of old and stale environments and create new one, deploy everything there, and then developers and CI processes. In our use case, you will see also infrastructure processes can pull orgs that are fresh and prepared. They have all managed package installed. They have all project files deployed there, like the metadata, classes, everything. Some post-install scripts also executed there. So we have some users there that can be used for end-to-end tests. We have configurations prepared, things like this. You can all do that. For example, in DXS scale, it's a convenient stuff because you all have those hooks that you can tie into and do some stuff that your team need for your requirements, right? It's just about pools that we've got, and yeah, getting back to monitors, the same for pools. We've been able to configure some charts for to monitor the pools, right? Like you can see how many active works left in terms of limits in your organization, and daily works left for the builds, right? If you use unlocked packages, you also can see in our use case, we can see how many time it takes to prepare the pool. So as you can see, it's about 3 hours. But because pools are prepared in different timing and different chunks, so in absolute most of the cases, we have developer environments available, infrastructure available, and CI available. And this is just a nice chart which we try to monitor like through the day once or twice to just see if everything is good. All right. And as coming back to the idea of the team, because it's, at the end of the day, everything is about the team. You can have the best tools, you can have the best processes. If the team do not, know how to use that, it's useless. It's just nothing, So it will take time, the team to adopt, and we also, we also encountered this situation. People were like, they would think, oh, Scratch works. Maybe that's for just to play with, it's something not serious. So and even though you give like the complete and ready Scratch work with all the metadata there, people will argue because there are no data, there are no maybe users to test with and stuff like that. So it takes time. You really need to be with them, near them, ask what is missing, and this is what we try to do from the leadership side with the team. And at the end of the day, you have to try yourself. That's for sure. To really, because if you don't touch that, you can barely imagine what's your team going through. So try yourself, get the work, and this is what me and Grish, this is my fellow. This is what we try to do. We try to understand what is missing, and that's why it works for us. And eventually we've got to the point that, yeah, the Scratch work is like in 99% of the time, it covers all the needs for the engineers at this point to really implementing, test, verify, and push that forward to the pipeline. When we've got to the point that everything like becomes, stable in terms of understanding of the validation, the processes, and we just got the main branch, and the build is working. The history is that, and this is the way we did that. Hopefully you will understand. You understand the idea, but we created the main branch from production branch, right? So we indicated, hey, this is our canonical version of the project. Everything which is not there should not be there, or we will make sure it will be there later, right? And we instantly create the release branch out of the main branch. by the way, when you create the main branch, the build was executed. So basically, thanks to the access scale, it automatically creates package versions, right? So versions been captured and stored in the package registry. So now we have them, right? We have the main branch, we have packages, and we instantly created the what is called release. I call that release 0, and you'll understand why it's 0. So we created the branch release 1.0 from the main. And what we did basically, we went through all the packages that have been created and their versions. And we said, hey, but should we deploy that to production? Because if I execute, deployment to production, it will really, from the release 1.0, it will really start deploying every package to prod, right? And I was like, oh, no, that's something we want to avoid because it's a full project deployment, which is not good, especially for the first time. We are confident, but we are a bit scared. We are a bit nervous to really redeploy everything that we've got just, even though we just pulled everything to main from production. And for your information, in case of the access scale, the package versions and the names and versions captured in the custom settings and list version, right? So you can see the name and the version right in production, what the package been deployed. So what we did, we really mocked deployment. We just went and created the multiple records in that custom settings list, indicating, hey, this has been deployed, just mocking deployment, but not running, don't run anything there. And for the lower environments, because, we've got to the point where environments are very different and not everybody, but people are complaining that dev is different than production stuff. We did a deployment to dev and deployment to staging. At that point, we didn't have UAT, but we redeployed to lower environments to make sure that we align. We basically pushed back everything from prod to lower environments, and it did the thing, right? It's as much as it can did. Of course, something was we had to fix some of the dependency issues, but overall, it did the thing. So it aligned all the environments with production, and we had basically release 0 everywhere, right? And just in a couple of words, after this first release, after the release 0, once we've created this the main branch, team started to accumulate changes to main, right? So so we are getting new changes, and we can create the release branch from the main, and this is how the idea looks like, right? Once you create a new release branch from the main, the new tag, there's already built new packages, so we are able to deploy them to stage, to UAT, and this is the first release. I'm running with my newborn son Myron in maternity hospital. As you can see, I'm very happy. I'm excited to get to this point, and we are monitoring deployment together. It went by the way well. We've got some clunky stuff, but we've been able to quickly cherry pick and fix issues. It's July 11. It's his birthday and the birthday of the Exit Scale first release in Cahill. So I was double excited, and the world changed completely, not only for me as a father, but also as an engineer and as a leader. So that was the amazing day, amazing experience. Just guys, I think I can run out of time, so I will try to minimize some of the not super interesting stuff. All right, just letting you know. The requirement from the very beginning to have the release cadence each week. As I said previously, guys, we are in a very competitive business, and it's in some point we are in a startup way of doing things. We need to execute fast. We need to be able to change things. We need to enhance frequently. People are waiting and stuff like that. Fix super quickly because it's a real patient. So we had a requirement deployment each week, but we started with one deployment a week to get team enrolled and then understand how to run and how can we run regression and sanity for each release. So we had the sprints for 2 weeks, and we were deploying once 2 weeks. Now we get to the point where we deploy each Thursday, and everything works perfect in this sense. This is, by the way, just an overview of the years of deployment, right? Of the year of 1 year of deployment, almost 1 year, right? Of deployment with the exascale, was this completely reimagined idea of having version organization and version packages. Again, we have 90 packages, so we've been installing, it's like 1,600 package versions been installed to production. We can monitor the time of deployment. It's different in different weeks because there are different changes, and it depends how many packages we change throughout the week, and only those packages deployed. So it's a good summary, and it's me and my son, almost 1 year. We were super happy having what we've got and achieved throughout this year. We recently deployed 1.43 version. It's a June 18 Father Days. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to talk about that a lot, but it's a game changer, because I remember things like I need to get up at night because deployment failed. I was running on the US time zone, and I need to fix that. It's a stress, and now one click and done, right? It's you just sitting and monitoring everything flows to. Of course, sometimes things happen. Sometimes something can affect, but overall, it's a complete different world. And Sergey, my technical architect from the team, gave his kind of feedback and just gave me some information that it's basically it's a different idea, different mindset. You can get the fresh works to your hands, and you can start doing features, fixes, and you can easily play with something and using the pipeline of delivery after the build. You can relatively quickly introduce changes to even production if you feature flagged the change, so you can really experiment if you need. Of course, that was not possible with all the pieces that we've built together, right? The validation, scratch works, the build process, and delivery based on versions. And Girish is he's the first Salesforce engineer at K, and he's been through just amazing stuff and hard stuff. And he says that, and this is definitely true. Deployment was like, the whole day and stress, and previously we could spend the whole team could spend the whole day fixing bugs and issues with the inconsistent deployment. But right now it's a different world. And very important thing he says is not just, as I mentioned, super quick stuff. It takes time. You need to invest for sure. Your company, the project, the organization need to invest into that, but it pays off for sure. It's basically what we've got is about 6 to 12 months of hard work and dedicated work. Just been involved and been giving feedback, and not only that, but we also have got what we call remote infra. We've got the ability to get the continuously integrated environment into the personal Kubernetes clusters that now Salesforce engineers and other engineers from different teams can test end-to-end all together, or run regression tests end-to-end. And this is where I want to go into the integrated Salesforce environment part. This is the last part of the presentation, and I think it should be fun. I don't want to go into details of Kubernetes stuff, but hopefully you will get the idea. So I like this quote that Steve Jobs say, that innovation distinguishes between a leader and the follower. And I think I was just grateful enough, but I've got the team that are leaders, and they they honestly share the idea that we have to be better. We have to move forward to something that gives us more freedom, uh, good nights that you can just sleep, don't think about some issues that can happen. And I think it's a great summary that you really need to move forward, not just, oh, yeah, this is Salesforce. This is how it works there. It's not possible to make it better. It is. You just need to invest. Salesforce giving a lot of capabilities. It's amazing if you think about that, about this technology. Scratchworks, the packaging, everything is there. You just need to play with that. And this is what we try to do. We've got what we call remote infra. It's the project which basically gives you an ability to spin up your own remote environment on the server. I'm saying remote environment in K. I said we have many services, not just Salesforce, that are running and help things, help our doctors connect with patients, right? The app side, many different databases, AI stuff, data engineering, analytics, all things like this. To be able to test it end to end, we've got an idea of, okay, we can spin up the whole infrastructure, personal for each developer, and then, I call him the father of remote infra. You will see his name later. He said, "Oh, can we kind of add Salesforce here?" And I was like, I think yes. So we were able to connect this, Scratchwork pools into this idea of personal Kubernetes environment, and connected them automatically using GitLab pipelines, using some scripting. So you can imagine that we have like some services, and only some of them are integrated with Salesforce. So you need to just understand how you can connect them together, how they are integrated, so that the cluster, the full stack services can be configured to talk to specific org that you just pulled, and the org can talk back, right? There should be this connection. And so we've got that by the idea that you can request the org, which is automatically pulled out of the infrastructure pool, where we have about, I think, 130 organizations automatically prepared, and we automatically deploy the authentication configurations there. And after that, the infrastructure, the personal infrastructure, prepares for you with the configurations that the org have. So things like client IDs, client secret, name credentials, some of the URL, of course, the username and the password shared with the infrastructure environment variables, and those things are connected. So in terms of the capabilities, we have the ability to get the on-demand environment using GitLab pipelines. And guys, I will show you that in a demo. Hopefully I'll be able to complete that. We are getting this infrastructure automatically connected into the Salesforce org, also prepared in the same jobs. And now there is plenty of the capabilities. We are able basically to run manual end-to-end testing, like starting from the web, opening the case flows to Salesforce, where I can take on the Scratchwork, I can take the case as a doctor, I can start chatting. The patient and the provider, they chat all together. And this is your environment. This is not something, there. You can use that. You can change code, you can redeploy to Scratchwork, and you can really test changes. It also gives an ability to run the end-to-end testing, because you can spin up not only the personal environment, but just system environment that has all the services, Scratchwork, run end-to-end automated tests, and verify if everything is good. And we are coming to it's done for the full stack services, but we are coming to the point where Salesforce merge request validations will include this end-to-end regression. So each merge request will be validated against the full stack environment, those services, if everything is good, right? So not only those services will validate against Salesforce, but Salesforce changes, the Salesforce team changes will be also validated back. Yeah, and this is Bernie. Almost he's the remote infra father. He did all the hard work related to all the full stack. I was just helping him with Salesforce integration and the scripts for that. And this is great summary from him. We've got this all-in-one sandbox for solution for developers where they really can be completely full stack, right? You can be Salesforce engineer, but you can introduce changes if you really understand and know how to do that in a different service, and you can test it all together. But also the amazing part is that we honestly coming to the point when we can validate the change, like the complete change completely, like fully in the merge request without merging to the main and running some automation there on some prepared environment. But before the merge, you can spin off environment, validate if everything is work. If your tests are good, you basically ready that to merge that and move that to staging or even to production instantly once merged. And that's about the continuous delivery that we are thinking about in future. All right, and now I will show the demo. Hey guys, that's a screen recording from myself. Oh, Aslam, are you here, mate?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
I think I will reshare.
Yeah, please. Yeah, I think it's fabulous what you guys have done. Yeah.
Okay. Just let me know if you can see my screen, Aslam.
Yeah, we are good.
Awesome. Guys, I will talk about what's happening on the screen. I will try to move quicker because it's about 5 minutes, so I will move quicker. So here, this is on the right hand side. You can see the GitLab page with where I can start where I'm starting the job, which will basically request the Salesforce on-demand environment, right? So what this job is doing is basically fetching the org out of the pool, and it deploys all the relevant metadata there. As I said, like it connects to DevHub, pulls the org, configures all the things like deploying some additional local like remote infra configuration, some things like this, some connected app which will be used later to connect from the full stack services back to the work. That's what we've got. We've got some credentials, and this is the again just fetched environment. And to connect to the work, you are having this aus URL, which I will now copy and paste to the terminal to connect my terminal SFDX CLI to the environment. Okay, just done that into the file, and yeah, just connect. This is the command on the left hand side where I connect the environment to my CLI by using this auth URL. Okay, it's been connected, and as you can see in parallel, the preparation of the remote infra is happening after I just got the work. So you know, the changes which I introduced to the org and introduced these credentials now been flow to the on-demand deploy job, which prepares the infrastructure. And on the left-hand side at the bottom, you can see this is not all services, but just only one. As you can see, there's 27 services at the bottom. This middle for service, this is only one, but there are also other that talk to solve. So it's just for the demo purposes, I showed that, okay, it started to prepare. It's the Kubernetes deployment is happening. Meanwhile, I just opened the org that been just fetched, right? We have the Datadog for logs. So I'll show you some logs there once environments are integrated together. All right. Okay, a bit faster, almost there. The deployment to middle force deployment almost there. I just opened the developer console to show you that the connection is there. The connection is defined. So we'll execute dummy and then temporarily the method to get access token from KingPy service. KingPy service is basically how we code the middle force, right? Okay, so we'll change some stuff here for the logging. Okay, so I just want to show you that there's real connection. As you can see, yeah, just executed the method and it in real time gets the access token from middle force, so it's basically connected. And on the right hand side, you will be able to see the log about this. As you can see, issuing Salesforce access token on the right hand side. This is what just happened. I used my scratch work that I just pulled, and I executed the method to issue the new access token from the service, which is just updated on my remote infrastructure. And also you can see these calls from middle force. Those are calls from middle force to Salesforce. On the left hand side, you see the log called all region and names of the work match. Just wanted to show you that it's real. This is how it looks like. I think, yeah, that's it. And going back to here, so just to summarize very quickly, guys, it takes time. You need to invest into the time. You need to invest into the teams, and of course into choosing right tools that match for you, right? So research is needed, of course. And last, guys, but not least, I'm from Ukraine, you know, and you all know that crazy things are happening here. The war is the unprovoked aggression from Russian Federation is happening here. We all fighting. We and at the same time, we super grateful for the support that the world is giving back to us, and really thank you for supporting us, and thank you for supporting the Ukrainian state, people. No matter how you do that, just talking, just nodding, I don't know, just saying some good things. I hope you have a peaceful day, and I hope you got something interesting out of this presentation, and I hopefully everything is good on your end. Thank you so much. I think that's it from my end.
All right. Thanks, Ruslan. Thanks for sharing this wonderful demo and your whole journey. It's been a learning for us as well a lot. I think you have certainly extended the framework far beyond that we could imagine. And kudos to the whole care team on where you are. I think thanks to the whole audience as well for the live comments over there and also listening to us. This session will be recorded. Hopefully, again, I pressed the wrong buttons. I'll paste it on the live on a YouTube channel, and I'll share the links shortly, right? So because I know the timing's a bit off. And I will also post the links to the Slack community. It's a free community for everybody to come in, and I believe Ruslan will always be there. So you can come and ask questions and get answers on how it's being actually done, what are the learnings and all this stuff, right? All good, guys. Yep. Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Have a wonderful day ahead.